What is up? We're back with our second video at Meaty556 YouTube channel. My name's Colt, and just talking about guns. I saw a few comments on the last video. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. It definitely has, spurred that video to like 200 views, which honestly, I didn't expect to get more than 10. So that's a win. I'm just a guy over here talking about guns and talking about kind of the cheaper side of the gun world. Once again, I'm not a rich man, and I probably never will be, but I do enjoy firearms, and I do a lot of research before I purchase stuff, and I don't want you guys to waste your money, and I make sure I do things very precisely because I'm on a very limited income, and that's all right. You can still get nice stuff, even if you don't make over 6 figures a year. But I got a comment, a couple guys picked up that I was talking about the Glock 43X in the last video with the 45 MOS. And I bought both of these guns kind of in tandem. I got a really good deal from Amchar down in South Carolina when I was in training down there. And picked up both these guns together, which is awesome. And I got a really good price on both of them because I don't know if you guys know this about Blue Label. I think I mentioned this in the last video. But Blue Label, you can get 2 guns a year from Glock, and the Blue Label pricing is like $100 cheaper than what it normally is, and that's for first responders, so like your EMTs and paramedics and stuff like that, your police and law enforcement, and then military. So there's quite a good range of people that can get into the Blue Label guns, which is pretty cool. I'd highly recommend, if you're going to go buy a Glock, don't go down to your local gun shop and be like, oh, I want to get a gun and I'm a Army guy, because they're going to sell you one at full price. So make sure you're getting your Blue Label price. You can tell it's Blue Label on the box. It'll have a blue label. That's where they get their name. And they might upcharge you $10 or something to make some money on you. But if you go to Amchar, you can get to one of these stores that sells true Blue Label prices. I'd recommend that. So today we're going to talk about the Glock 43X. This gun's clear, no mag, chamber's clear weapon. This has been such like a buzz gun. It's kind of like the hype beast of sneakers when it comes to the Glock gun world. Some people love it, some people hate it. When I first bought this gun, I'm not gonna lie, I almost sold it. I hated this gun so much. This gun pissed me off because I'm not a terrible shooter. I'm also not John Wick. I'm more like John Thick, but I'm not a terrible shooter. I've definitely improved in the last year with all the training that I've gone through. But I couldn't hit the broadside of the barn with this gun, strictly because I think it was the sight radius. I think it was because it's such a short barrel. I mean, this is a very compact little Glock. It's narrow, so you got like this super thin grip, and a lot of people liked it because it's easy to conceal. I wouldn't say it's like that much smaller than a Glock 19, but it is smaller. It's shorter. It's narrower. I mean, but I'll just get into where I was with when I first bought this. So I first bought it, and I went to the range with my 45 MOS and the 43X MOS. And I was stacking dimes with that 45 because it's a full size, obviously. And I picked this thing up, and I put my first couple rounds down range, and I was like super low. I was having to like adjust my sight picture in order to put things in the 9 ring at 10 yards. And I just thought it was me. And it was me. It's not the gun's fault. It's my fault. I was kind of command detonating this gun. So a command detonate is when you're at full extension, you're presenting the firearm on target. You put equal heights, equal light, and you make your sight picture line up. And then right when that gun's about to break, you like rip it down. And I was that's where you see a lot of rounds going down and to the left. So I was doing that with this gun. And I almost sold it to a Coast Guard buddy of mine because I hated it that much, and then I was like, oh, I'll just hang on to it and try to practice with it and get better, because it is a really good concealed carry gun. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm an advocate of always having it and never needing it is better, you know. So I always have one on me. The 43X is just a little bit more narrow, and a lot of people complain because it's only a 10-round magazine. My thoughts, I see a lot of guys carry full-size Glocks, you know, or like a subcompact, like a 19. I think that's 15 plus 1. And they carry a sidecar too, and they, like, you have like 30 rounds. I'm like, dude, one, if I'm shooting more than 10 rounds, something went horribly wrong. Unless it's like an active shooter situation or like multiple shooters, I don't know. But like, if I need more than 10 rounds, it's an issue. So I don't carry a spare magazine. I don't. A lot of people convert these. I know Shield Arms does a 15-round magazine. Palmetto State Armory is doing a 15-round magazine now. I forget what those are called. They're like dagger micros or something. But I don't need more than 10 rounds, 11 rounds, 10 plus 1. I carry one in the tube because I'm an adult, and I know the status of my firearm. And I don't think you need to rack your gun before a gunfight. I think that's a terrible tactic. That's some FUD shit. But 10 rounds is sufficient for me, especially now that I've outfitted this gun to my needs. And I can shoot this gun as well, not as fast, like my splits aren't as fast, but I can shoot this gun as accurately as a full-size Glock 45. So I think that speaks testament to what I did to this. So I started with a Glock 43X MOS, and I bought the light, okay? My buddy had some Amazon like points or Amazon cash or some crap like that. And I was like, hey, if you buy this light with the money that you got for free from Amazon, I'll give you $100. And these go for, I think on the Amazon, these go for like about 130, 129. But, you know, Streamlight's a good brand. And this thing, it really does look good, and it fits well on the Glock 43X. I have zero complaints about this. I actually have less complaints about this than I do about the X300U, because that gun, or that weapon light was like, gave me issues. I talked about it in the last video. But this is pretty cool because it has the, like, so it has like 2 modes. If you click and hold, it'll shut off. If you click and hold, kind of like a momentary light, and then turn it off, and then release, it'll come off, all right? But if you quick click it, it'll stay on. And I've used this light to clear rooms and stuff, and it's pretty sick when you can just kind of turn it on, especially when you're doing like uniform work or hostage work and you have somebody detained or in like a custodial situation. You can just turn this light on and leave it on, and you can watch what's going on. Or, you know, some guys like to punch out with their light on. You know, a lot of Army guys train, like, if that gun's coming up, the light's coming on, and you're holding this on, you know it's going to come off, and you're not going to drag that back to your position, which, if you're getting in a pistol fight, they probably know where you are anyway. But Streamlight TLR-7 sub, badass little light, and I'd highly recommend it. I think they're about $130. Now let's get into what made me not only keep this gun, but carry this gun and this become one of my favorite pistols. All right, I used to carry a Beretta Nano, which is a single stack 9mm, very similar to this. And I ended up selling that after I bought this because I didn't need 2 of the same Glock 43 or single stack 9 like subcompacts. And I bought the Beretta Nano. I believe I bought for about $300 about 2 or 3 years ago. And it was a great carry gun, and I carried it for about a year and a half. It was a good gun. I liked it. Actually, no, it was more than 4. It was about 4 years ago I bought that gun. And I carried it around a little bit. It has like nothing on the sides, and ended up picking up this instead. and started carrying this, and then dropped the Beretta. And this was, I think, $377. And then I put the light on for $100. I got lucky on that. That came up to about $477. And then we went with the Trijicon RMRcc. And I'll get into why. I trust Trijicon. I know they're very expensive. I know it. I know they're very expensive. And if you were to go onto the store, like onto Trigicon's website store, and buy this, I think they're like $650, which is, do not pay that. Do not go to Trigicon, go on their website, order this site, and get it shipped to your house and pay $650 because it's not worth that. I'm sorry. It's a red dot, and it's not worth that. The reason I went with this is it was between this and the Hollow Suns. The EPS carry was one of the ones that I was interested in because I think the closed emitter thing was cool on the 45 MOS. And Alexa, stop. And I thought that was pretty cool, like closed emitter on a small Glock, whatever. But I saw people having issues with them on Reddit, actually. I saw people with the 407K, 507K, I don't know what the numbers are. The compact red dot that Hollow Sun makes for this gun, pretty much. I saw people having issues with that. And I saw people having issues with the EPS carry, like moisture getting in them. So when you go from like an air-conditioned house outside, they would see condensation on the inside. And that means like the seals on the glass aren't good or whatever. So I did see some of that happening on Reddit, and I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go with the RMRcc. The RMR's been out for, a decade or two. And that thing's, tried and true, tested optic, battle optic. I was like, there's definitely something going on with the RMRs. So I just went with the RMRcc. I actually found this one brand spanking new on Facebook Marketplace, and it was down in North Carolina. And I was like, it's a little sketch bomb buying stuff on Facebook, especially like gun parts. And this guy was like way down in North Carolina, like 2 hours away. And I was like, I'm not driving down there for a site. And he had it listed as brand new. And I was like, hey man, if you FaceTime me and show me the optic, show me the box, show me everything, I will Venmo you the money or Cash App or whatever we used. I'll send you the money. I'll pay for shipping. You send that site to my address. This guy's like, sure, man. He's like, I'm an Army vet or Marine Corps vet. And I was like, oh, sick. All right, cool. Kind of like, a little bit of brotherly love there, military. I'm not saying that means everybody in the military is a good person. I am saying that, you get a little bit of cred with me if you're military. So this dude FaceTimes me, and he's like, here's the site, man. I was like, all right, dude, dope. Here's the money. How much for shipping? He's like, $15, whatever. So I ended up getting into this for about $350, and it was posted for like a day. And I was like, oh, man, that was a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. And it was expensive, man. I mean, $350, even for a brand new optic, is still a lot of money. But I knew I was getting a good brand. I knew I was getting a good constructed optic. And I was like, screw it, I'll have it on this gun forever. So I pulled the trigger, and it was worth it. I did, after I bought it, I had to do a little research, and I'm going to save you guys some time and money on how to mount this thing. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but the RMRcc is actually longer than the MOS slide cut on the Glock 43X. I don't know if Trijicon didn't talk to Glock or Glock didn't talk to Trijicon, because I know a majority of people are running the RMRs on Glocks. They get them milled and they sit them down in there, whatever have you, and you don't have to do all this crazy stuff with these crazy plates. And I did some research. So as the site was on its way, it was about a week. It took maybe 5 days to get the site from the guy from Facebook. I was like, oh man, I need a plate to mount this thing. And the site actually came before the plate, which is nobody's fault aside from myself, because I was kind of ill prepared. But I did some research, and I was looking at cheap ass bullshit plates on like Amazon and stuff. A lot of places were actually sold out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta find something that is gonna make this, you know, reliable. You know, you spend so much money on the gun, you spend so much money on the optic. You want something that's gonna put this optic on there, and you want it to be right. You don't want it jerry-rigged. You don't want to have to do a bunch of bullshit, and it's fucking moving around and shit. That shit drives me nuts. Every time I go to the range with a buddy and their optics loses 0, I'm like, dude, put some Loctite on that thing. Get it right. Use the right plate. Torque it down. Do it right. Because this is a life-saving equipment. Piece of life-saving equipment. This is very important. So I take pride in making sure that this is right. So I found Forward Controls. Cue Forward Controls. Shouts out to them. They are so thorough on their website. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. They have like this, I used to have the sticker on the back of my phone, and somebody actually asked me, they're like, oh, you know about Forward Controls? So I was like, yeah, dude on my team. He's like, dude, they're a good brand. I was like, I know. They have like this weird bird sticker. Anyway, their stickers suck because it's like not waterproof, but Forward Controls, fix your stickers because you guys are a good brand and you can do better with your stickers. I have better stickers for Rawhide Wrestling. So Forward Controls, they described exactly what this plate is. So this plate bolts straight into, so plate to slides and then optic to plate. They gave you all new screws. They gave you Loctite to Loctite your stuff on. You know, they have some brand that's not Loctite. Loctite's just a brand, but they gave you some kind of type of lead, thread locker that is, you know, viable. It's useful. You know, you need it, and they ship it out with it and a sticker. That sucks. But this Forward Control plate, correct me if I'm wrong. Drop it in the comments. This Forward Control plate puts the slide, or puts the optic as close to the slide as possible. So it had to keep the RMR optic above where the MOS cutout is, simply because the RMR is longer than the MOS slide cutout. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 0.05 inches from the slide. And I don't know if you can see light coming through there. It is minimal on how much light comes through there, because they got that thing so milled, so close. They planed this thing or milled it or whatever, these plates. They got it so close that you can barely tell that this has any room in between it. And that's with the plate and then the Trigicon brand sealing plate to seal your battery. And there's like a gasket underneath there that keeps water out of there. That seals up so nicely, and I'm thrilled with this. And the plate was about $89. I know it sounds expensive, but they had to do all the CAD drawings or whatever and mold this thing and get it milled out. And they did a lightning cut underneath it to make it just a little bit lighter. And they go into like this whole explanation on lightning cuts, and they don't do it unless they make sense. And it makes sense on this because you want less reciprocating weight. Whatever. I'm rambling. This is what this video is. No edits, full ramble, talk about guns. Let's go. Forward Controls really crushed it with this plate. It hasn't moved. It hasn't given me any issues. And it made this RMR sit on here so perfect that this is... I can solely say I like this sight better than the Acro. Maybe I should get an RMR full size, RMR Type 2. But I like this better than the Acro. I said it. I don't care. It's my guns. It's my opinion. I like them. I like them a lot. The window's tiny, but if you do your due diligence, look, I just did it. If you do your due diligence and you dry fire and you do your presentations, that dot comes right up in the middle of that glass every single time. I don't even co-witness stuff. Like, I can't because I have stock sights. I don't co-witness anything. I should have backup irons, but I don't. I just hope that the dot works, and if not, I'm point shooting. Hopefully there's no hostage situation. This thing's sick. I would recommend the RMRcc to everybody. Now, Forward Controls plate, go with them, buy that. Worth the $100. Might take you a week or two to save up, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. I don't judge you for how much money you make, because I don't make a lot of money either. But it's worth every penny. Worth buying them, and they're cool. It's a cool brand. All right, RMRcc. You guys know where I got it. Facebook Marketplace. Durable, reliable. I went with the 6.5 MOA dot because it was on Facebook Marketplace, and beggars can't be choosers. And now that I have this 6.5 MOA dot, I think they make this in 3.25 and a 6.5 MOA. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. But I went with the 6.5 MOA dot because it was on Facebook, and I am so glad that I did because the dot's just a little bit bigger. It's a concealed carry gun, so I'm not shooting more than 15 yards. Anything past that, I'm going to have to explain myself. And it comes up really nice, and a lot of people use this word crisp on like red dots. It looks like a dot. I have once again I have astigmatism in my eyes to where everything bursts. It just looks like a mess, and it looks like it's raining outside at nighttime, and you're looking at somebody's headlights, and it's like smeared all over your windshield. That's what it looks like when I look at dots. That's why I run a lot of EOTechs, because the holographic sight doesn't do that to me. But as far as like this dot, I think it's because it's a little bigger. This dot looks round to me. It looks like a little red ball, and that is so sick that it does that. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. I don't know. I'm filming it on an iPhone. So, but this dot is sick. You can run this all the way to the top and sides of this glass, and it doesn't parallax. So parallax is like one of those fancy buzzwords. Basically, it's like when something gets to the edge of the glass and the glass is like curved or warped or whatever, it makes the dot like blow out. And like the people sell glasses that have no like minimal parallax. Like when you get to the edge of them, the dot doesn't move and it doesn't like bend the light. I know, fucking magic. It doesn't do that. You know, I can shoot accurately with the dot all the way up in the right-hand corner of the window. So, as far as that goes, I highly recommend the RMRcc. I highly recommend the TLR-7 sub and the forward control plate. Other than that, that is all I'm going to do to this. Some people say do the extended slide release. I don't. I mean, you can see that this is, it's been used. That might be from a holster or from me running my thumb across it. But I don't have. Oh yeah. If somebody ever tells you don't dry fire and don't slam your slide shut, just tell them don't shoot their gun. The slide release is right there. I don't ever have a problem getting that thing to close. I have a buddy that I shoot with. When he goes to slide lock reload, he goes here and he does like the slingshot thing where you come across and pull that slide back and let it drop. I don't do that. I hit the slide release like a man. And people are like, I posted this on Reddit, and people are like, oh, you're not done yet. You got to put the slide release on, and you got to do a trigger shoe, and you got to polish trigger bar, and you got to do a mag well. And I was like, nope, I'm not putting any more money into this because it's exactly where I want it to be. The light works great. The optic works great. The plate works great. I don't need a slide release because it works for me. The trigger works. The magwell works. Also, I don't carry a spare magazine, so I don't need a speed reload. And it's a great little gun. You know, if I were to buy a subcompact like slimline pistol, this would be it. It's reliable. It's nice. It's cool. People every time I take it to the range, people are like, ooh, can I shoot that? I'm like, yeah. And they end up really liking it. It shoots nice. People like it. The sight radius is really short if you're shooting irons, so just be aware of that. It's definitely what they call in the gun world, quote unquote, snappy. It's because it's got a short little barrel, and it's a thin, tiny little 9. And when you shoot it, you'll feel it's going like this. Grip the gun, drive it down, and with a red dot on there, it allows you to make good hits and let the gun flips and let the gun go off, let it surprise you, and you're gonna be fine. I'm no firearms instructor or anything, but I know how to shoot this thing because I've been trained to, and this thing is kick ass. I'll recommend this to anybody. It's a great little gun. If you're trying to get something subcompact, to do that. Now I'll answer this question. Do I think it's better than a Glock 19? And that is like the big question. Do I get a Glock 19 or do I get a 43X? I'd probably go with the Glock 19. More mags are compatible. You're not really gaining that much. It's a little thinner. But if you can conceal this, you can conceal a Glock 19. I really don't carry this that much. I carry a Beretta Pico the most. It's a 380. It's for like deep concealed carry. I can wear a pair of underwear and conceal that thing. I'd probably go with a 19. Just my thoughts, just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Shoot them both. Go to a range or find a buddy that has them and shoot them both. And let me know what you think in the comments or whatever. Get a hold of me. Not hard to find. What else did I want to cover on this? That's pretty much it. Go out, shoot, train, get a Glock. They're cool. This is a good budget gun, you know. I'll run over the price real quick. $377 for the gun, so just call it $400 out the door. Awesome. $100 for the sight. It came out to $500. Let's just call it $100 for the plate. $600, and then let's just call it $400 for the optic with cash and shipping and everything, and we'll just call it about $1,000 Glock. You know, for a nice little concealed carry, $1,000 Glock. I can't be mad at that. It's just under $1,000. You know, and this will save your life. I highly recommend it. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. We're gonna do some more videos on some other guns. You know, whenever I get time. This is the first day I had some time, so here it is. 2 weeks after the first video, second video, done.